Alrighty. So we did some absolutely terrible welding to get the front end in. We plug welded it. We welded up this side. We're gonna wait to get the car in that bay over there to weld up the rest. The floor pans on this thing, the original floor pans, are so thin, the metal's just blowing away. But we got, in here is all nice and plug weld. There's a couple holes we need to fill. There's a patch that we have to do against the firewall there. But the front end is nice and tight and secure. Nothing's flopping around. So we have all the welding we're going to do for right now. We're going to have to come back in and weld that spot there and weld that spot there. We got to get a coat of paint on the firewall so we can get the master cylinder back in, so we can get the brake lines back in. But today we're going to go ahead and start on the front suspension. We already put the spring towers, the shock tower brackets on because we wanted to put this on. So now my adapter for putting the springs in, hopefully this thing can handle the pressure to get them up in there where they need to be. So we're going to start doing the upper control arm, the lower control arm, the spring. We'll put the front suspension, steering linkage, excuse me, back in, and we'll put the sway bar. So let's go show you what we have. So we bought new lower control arms, upper control arms, new spring saddles. Well, G Junior had bought a bunch of stuff for the car, and we have the high performance Scott Drake roller ones. So we're gonna put these on these upper control arms. These, I need them for my 66 hot rod. So I'll just use these in my 66 hot rod. We have new upper spring insulators, and the springs are outside getting another coat of paint on. They were painted red. They look like hell, so we just went ahead and shot them red again. So we're gonna go ahead and get the new spring saddles, or spring perch as they're called, on the upper control arms. We have new upper control arm nuts and grease fittings. These grease fittings really don't fit real well, so we'll put those in. We should have 2 sets. Here's the other sets. So we're gonna get some of this stuff swapped out, and we'll start putting the front suspension back on the Rustang. This is the original bolt and nut for the control arm. What we'll do, we're just gonna put this in loose until we get some weight on the front before we tighten this down. So that's the parts. We're gonna get over there and start assembling it. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the spring in and tighten the spring up and get that up out of our way, so then we can put the control arm in, put the shims in, and the new nuts. So we'll be right back. Alrighty, we're getting ready to put the front suspension in. We got to put the spring in. So for me to use this tool, I had to take the shock holder tower off, and now these bolts want to fall out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put these bolts back in. They'll stay in once the spring's in, but I can't just slide them in the notches because of the export brace. So we're going to put the the carriage bolts back in. All lined up with their nuts on, just to hold them in place. And then when I come in with the spring rubber will hold these nuts up. All right, over here. So here is our spring, racing red spring, and we're gonna put the top insulator on. So it has a notch right there. That notch goes right here. So to get these on, you kind of fold them over, you get them in, all right, and then you kind of line that notch up. Now the problem is this spring is so tight against here that the rubber, see it right there, is pushed out. No problem. All you have to do is take a screwdriver and put it in here, and then just push it into place. So now we're off a little bit, not a problem still. We're just gonna put the screwdriver in, align that up, take the screwdriver out, and that will hold that in place. So we put the roller, we have put the high performance spring perch on here. It's got like a bearing in it. How that is so nice, it's unbelievable. So The spring has got to sit on the perch with that sitting there. So that sits parallel to the car inside like this. So now we're going to get the spring up in here like so, and we're going to keep this piece pointing straight forward. We're going to put the spring compressor tool and get this thing all pulled up. Let me get this done. Remember, springs are very dangerous. Please use the proper tools. If you don't know what you're doing, do not try this ever, okay? This is your warning. I'm not responsible for anything that you do. Springs are very dangerous. Springs get away from you and hit you, they will kill you. So there's your warning. I'm not going to show you how to compress the spring in this one, but please, if you do not have a proper set of tools that do springs, work on springs, please do not get a professional to do it for you. All right, we're going to get the spring compressed up so we can get the control arm back in, and we'll be back. Alrighty, we have the spring compressed enough with the good spring compressor. Once again, don't do it if you don't know what you're doing. All right, so control arm. I have taken the control arm and I have put these at this angle. Instead of they come straight, I have bent them down so they're down low. So now we gotta pull on the spring, get it up, and get the holes lined up. And we are basically almost lined up here. When the spring is kind of pulled, so once we get that, start letting the spring down, it'll probably sit where it needs to sit. So we got the control arm in. We're going to come on this side here. We're going to get the two nuts started. All right. And if you watch from the previous videos, I am going to put the same amount of shims that the car had before in there. The front had, let's see, there's 6 shims up front. So I'm going to put the 6 shims back up front. Let's get these in there. There's that, and there's that one. Okay, so all 6 of those shims are in, and then the back had 2 or 3, I can't remember. Had 3. So we're gonna put those in the back. Alrighty, stay. All right, so those nuts are 3/4 or 19 millimeter on the other side. So we're gonna tighten those up real quick. And then we're gonna need to put the lower control arm in. The lower control arm's right here. Lower control arm is real simple. It just has a bolt with a nut and a lock washer. We're just going to get this in. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and put this in now and it just be hanging there. So it just goes up in the frame. And I think I'm going to have to get my pick tool all to get in here to get this lined up properly. Because the bolt doesn't have a point on it, but the bolt goes in and then the control arm is going to sit here. So I'll get this all put back together and we'll tighten the other bolts, and then we'll get the brake spindle drum assembly over here and get that installed. Alrighty, so we got the lower control arm in there just loose. We're not going to tighten the bolt up until we have enough weight on it because we don't want to tear the bushing. So the spring is still compressed, the control arm is still moving up and down. We have the nut taken off here and the nut taken off here. We have the whole brake assembly. We bought these brake assemblies from Dan the Mustang man. It doesn't even look like they've ever been used. He bought it for his car and he decided to go with a SN95 style front suspension on his. So he had all this stuff rebuilt and sold it to me. So I have new everything. I did put a new brake hose on. The brake hose that he had on there, it looked okay. Where is it? You know, it looked okay. It's from, if that is the date code, it's from 2012. But it looked okay, but I just wanted to change them. So we got some new brake hoses from the Mustang place. So now we need to start assembling. So here, grab that. Where's the nut? There's the nut. Okay. So I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to try it. So this goes on the lower control arm, and we'll just go ahead and put the nut on. We're just going to put the nut on finger tight. We'll worry about that later. Oh, it's going to go, I think. Lift up on the control arm a little bit. We'll go up. All right, move your hand, move your hand. Let me just pull. There, we'll just pull the ball joint forward. So I got the ball joint pulled forward. Come on, start. All right. There we go. It's not snug, it's not tight. Let's see. You know, I don't know if we're going to be able to find the torque specs to this car, so I'm just
torque specs is yes, it's tight.
So yeah, we're gonna tighten them up tight. This is a nice super long wrench, so you get a lot of torque out of this one. So let's see. This one looks like it's already lined up. All right. Put your carter key through, bend it down. Now I don't like that. See how the nut is too short? So you put your carter key through, it doesn't hold anything. So when that usually happens, I don't have any, oh I do have. What I'll do is I'll take the carter key and I'll bend it down so it does engage the castle nut. Bend that over, and gotta bend this one over the rest of the way. All right, so there's that piece, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this one off or not, but let me go ahead and put my flashlight. So there's the old brake hose that we cut from the junkyard. Yep. We're gonna pull that off, and we're gonna have to reuse the old clip. So let's see, maybe a little bit here. Looks like it should be, there it is. And then the clip just goes. All right, so there we go. We've got the drum brake spindle and all the brakes mounted now. We're not going to use this hub because there's no studs in it. We've cleaned the bearings out and we have the new hub, so we're going to change the hub on this. So now we're going to just let the spring come on down. I'm going to guide the spring down in the saddle. Here, you want to start doing that? Yeah. So G Junior's going to go ahead and start letting the spring back down. We have the upper control arm tight, so I'm just going to push the spring up like this until he gets it. Okay, stop for a second, stop. This rubber moved. All right, go ahead. So now there's no way this spring can come out of here. So we're gonna go ahead and let him, he's gonna go ahead and just lower that spring all the way down. We're close enough to that. All right, go ahead. You can just go ahead. Now there's a cover that goes over top of this. We have those covers, right?
Yes.
Do we have the bolts for them?
I think so, yes.
All right, we'll stop right there. Let's get the cover and put back on. All right, we're gonna go find that cover and get that cover put back on first, and then we'll go ahead and get the rest of the spring. I don't think the spring will come out. It's engaged down here and engaged here. It's not gonna come out, but it's got that cover. It's just a cover. Go ahead and just keep going. It can't, because spring can't come out because it's hooked here, it's hooked there, and it's hooked in there. Is it loose? Okay. All right. Yeah, this spring should not be able to pop out unless you really force it. Okay, hold on. All right, keep going. Just go. Let me get the piece out. So now the shock goes in and bolts in. There's a hole right here and a hole over there. Keep going, come on. All right, actually stop. Here, lift up on the bolt. Lift up on the bolt. Yep, keep lifting, keep lifting. All right, now, can you get that out of there? There we go. All right, excellent. All right, so there. More of the front suspension put in, brake hose installed. We're gonna get that spring cover and get the shock put back in here. So I guess we'll show you the shock absorber next. We got to put the shock tower brace back in. And like I said, now the spring should be holding these nuts up so they don't fall out. All right, we're going to get that put back in and get the shock in here. Okay, so G Junior found his spring tower covers. Yeah, they're those covers. And we're going to use the original gas adjust shocks that came with it. So basically, I've already reinstalled the shock mount here, and I had to rebuild these. I actually had to weld new nuts in from underneath. So here, take the camera. So this shock, you got to fish it through here, and it goes on down, and it goes down through those holes down there that are not lining up, because we're going to have to jack the front suspension up. But anyway, so come back up here. So I don't have the proper nuts and bolts for these, so we're just going to use some 5/16 bolts with some lock washers and flat washers, and we're going to put them right there. So that's going to hold that. We are going to need, I hate doing this, we are going to need a floor jack to jack up this control arm a little bit so we can get this shock engaged. So this shock has to go into these holes down here, and this back hole is a pain in the butt to get the nut tight. So this shock is all the way extended, so that means we're gonna have to jack up the suspension up to get the shock in. So it's just 2 nuts and 2 rubber washers that go in from underneath. Like I said, this other side is a real pain in the butt. Hand me one of your covers. Let's see how your covers look. So this is the tower cover that gets bolted in just like that.
Actually, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know why they have these. I don't know. So give me here. Oh, go ahead and grab some of your bolts, your new bolts. Those are, yeah. Go start at the top. Other way. So yeah, stick the bolts through. Yep. All right. What do we have here? These are just nuts, right? Yeah. Get a nut started. All right, so he's getting that. We'll put a lock washer and everything. Put one over here at this other side. Put one up here at the top. Push. You're not all the way through. There you go. All right. There you go.
Oh, my little filters are there.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. All right, that's good. So there's 8 bolts that hold these in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's 1 here and 1 here. I guess this helps give strength to the upper tower. Is there a right and a left, or?
No, I just looked and there's not.
You sure? Let me have that one. This looks right. But let me just make sure that there isn't a right and a left. Now there is a right and a left. Does this say which one it is? Front Mustang, left. We guessed right. This one actually says right here, Brian. It says left hand.
Oh, okay.
So It says left hand right there. So we guessed right that it goes this way. All right, you put that way back, go there. All right, well, we're gonna get this shock buttoned up and this buttoned up, then we're gonna go to the other side and get that done. Once we get that side done, we'll come back and we'll show you how to put the sway bar in and all the steering linkage. Okay, you saw how easy the other side went together. This side was a pain in the butt. This spring would not get in the saddle, so it was a pain in the butt. So now what we need to do is we need to get the car on the ground. So these hubs that were on here do not have any studs. So I know he put new bearings in these, but we're gonna reuse the old bearings that were in, I just dropped them all, in the old hub. So let's walk on over here. So G Junior had already taken and painted these hubs up. And here's something maybe somebody can answer for me. See the hub, how that one's flush and this one's got the ribs on it? Well, this car was the same way. The ribbed one was on the left side because see, I made an L in there for the left side. I made an R for the right side. Can anybody tell me why there is a different hub for the left and for the right? I would like to know. So anyway, these are the bearings that came out of the left front hub. We needed the seal. The seal was weighted. This seal's brand new. And we got a nice, better looking cap. Get the hub tool. Let's get this hub off. And of course, we had G Junior paint these up. So we'll go ahead and take the tape off. So we're gonna have to do both sides. So I'll show you how to repack the bearings on these. All right, here, go ahead and get this cap off, please. There you go. Alrighty. So these bearings look fine. They don't look like they've been overheated. Usually you'll notice the overheating part. It turns it dark. It looks great. There's no pits. The bearing feels good. Same with the outer bearing. It's a little dark on this bearing, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. All right, so you want to start bearing upside down. I mean the hub upside down. The bearing's going to go in here, but we need grease. So we need grease. And we need the packer. So over here we have the grease. This one doesn't have a handle. So we have grease. This is a nasty, dirty job. Nobody likes to do it, but I'm going to do it. Where is the packer? Can't seem to find the packer. Oh, there it is up there. Let me get the packer. It's sitting up here. There is the packer. Sorry about that, had to talk to a customer. So anyway, repacking the bearings, that's where we're at. So we got the grease, we got the packer. I'll show you how to do all this. Gloves, very good idea, gloves. So we're doing the left bearing. Here's the packer. The packer is very simple. Most people don't understand how it works. It really works pretty simple. Filled with grease. It has holes in there. You drop your clean bearing in there. You put the top back on, and you can do this either two ways. If the vise was here, I'd put it in the vise and squeeze it, or you can just push down on the plunger, and if you notice, the grease came all around the bearings, so that is all ready to go. So we're going to take our hub and we're going to put grease in the hub. We're not going to fill the hub. We're just going to put probably about this one here, maybe a little bit more, about 2 fingers worth of grease in there. We're going to take our bearing out. Looks good. We're going to drop it in there. Now we're going to wipe this off, and this extra grease, we're just going to go ahead and tuck it back in and get it out of the way. Okay, so now we have the seal. We're going to take and put a light coating of grease on the seal. All right, and now this seal gets hammered in. I guess I can use this. This is not the best tool for this. Let me get a paper towel. Wipe my hand off, get a paper towel, and we're just gonna half the seal in. Seals in, paper towel, wipe that off. Flip it over. We're gonna put a little bit more grease on the outer race. Here is the outer bearing. Same thing, we're gonna drop it in. And then you just squeeze down on it a little bit until the grease comes out. See how the grease has come around the bearing? Pull it out, drop it in, wipe it off. This hub is ready to go. So now we need the nut, we need the washer, we need the retainer, we need the cap. And I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on my finger. All right, let's walk back out over to the car. We're gonna put a little grease on the shaft here. The hub fits back on. Now the washer's got a tang. It only goes on one way. That's on. Now we have the retaining nut. I don't have a new carder key. I'll have to get a carder key, but I'll show you how you do it. And is there a pair of pliers out here or not?
No.
No pliers? Okay, hold on. Let me get a pair of pliers. So this is the way that I was taught to do it. You want to spin it and you want to tighten it as tight as you can get it by hand. Then back it off and just barely snug the nut. Now you put your cage on, and there's a place for a carder key to go through. I have to get a carder key. After you put the carder key in, then you take it, you put the hub on. Of course, these cars are 50 years old, so the caps are beat to crap. But there we go. So there's the left hub. Now we can put the drum on, and we can put the wheel back on, because unfortunately we can't get the shock. We can't get the shock in because the control arm's down too low. We actually still have the spring compressor in on this side because this was doing funky. We want to get this car on the ground before we take this spring compressor off. So that's how you pack the wheel bearings. We're going to do that on the other side. Well, how many minutes are we into this video?
Like
4?
5 minutes.
All right. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and put the strut rods in. I don't like the camera seems to overheat a little bit sometimes. So we're going to stop it here. I'm going to get a carder key. We're going to fix this. We're going to get the other hub done. And then when we come back, we're going to put the strut rod back in. All right, we got the new hub on this side. Or actually the hub that has studs, excuse me. That came off the other car. The bearings from the other car. This is the new drums. Here, hold that. This side here also has all brand new shoes and hardware and everything that we bought from Dan the Mustang Dan. All right, so now we got to do the strut rod. So we kind of forgot which way this goes, but I do believe this is the right side. So this actually has forward bushings. No, maybe not, but this, okay, this says front. So this goes in the front and then that goes there. So we're going to reuse the old bushings. I know people are going to complain, but anyway, try to keep this on the cheap. Already spent enough money. So this is going to come this way and then go up through the strut rod hole here. Yep. And then these 2 bolts are going to go back into the lower control arm, and then we're going to bolt it up. So there's a bolt there, and I mean a nut and bolt it there. All right, and let me just see. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to go. This stop right here hits the arm coming off. All right, go that way a little bit. So let me come over here and take a peek. All right, so now on this end here, this bushing is gonna slide in. We probably should have slid it in before I put the other end together. All right, so live and learn. Let's take this end back apart. Take the nut off. Take the nut off, pop this up. All right. Oh my, this fits very tight in this hole. I didn't remember them coming that tight in the other one, but that's the way it is. It's got a lip. So this lip has got to fit in this hole. So we're gonna have to get some type of soap or grease or something to get that popped in. So anyway, that's how you put the strut rods in. This is actually got to go in first, and then you slide your strut rod in, and then you hook it up to your control arm. And see, without the strut rod in, show the control arm. The control arm can just flop around, see? So that's why you have a strut rod on a Mustang. All right, well, we'll get this one put together. Like I said, right there, this has got to fit in. So we'll do both sides, and after we do that, we have the steering linkage to do. I'll come back and show you the steering linkage. All right, well, we finally got both strut rods in. I guess when the guy loaded the frame up for me from the junkyard, he bent this and bent that. I seem to remember he had a chain wrapped around it, so they were hitting here, so we had to get in there and bend them back. So strut rods are in. So let's go ahead and put the wimpy sway bar in. We scavenged the best bushings that we could for it for now, and it goes in through here above the strut rod. We probably should have put it on before. Can you grab that end? And it goes above the sway bar. Yeah, in, taking it right in. Yep. Hold on, you got to go farther. Okay, there you go. All right, can you hold that end? I guess we could have come in the other way. Just hold that end for a second, and I will shoot you a bolt through. Can you get the nut? Got it? I'll hold the bolt down. Got it started?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Okay, here's that one, and here's the next one. That started?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to do the other side now. Bolt, bolt, 2 nuts here, 2 nuts, and are they both through?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and get those started. So we put a quick paint job on the firewall so we can get the master cylinder mounted and get the brake lines put back in. The car had stainless steel brake lines up front. Do you have them started?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh man, do you think I can borrow some leader and a cloth?
Interruptions. All right, so we got the bolts all started. So we're gonna tighten. We're gonna do the back one first on the sway bar. All right, go ahead and hit it. Go ahead. Go. Go. Okay, stop. All right, the front one.
You ready?
Yeah. Well, I was. All right. Stop. Do we have another 9/16? We need a 9/16. The 14 is not fitting on this. This car actually uses 19s. Usually you can get away with using a 14, but we're having some issues with these rusty nuts and bolts that we're reusing on this car. We're gonna get this all tightened up, and we'll come back for the steering linkage part. I don't, at this angle, we're not gonna be able to get the all right, go. 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 All right. Got a 9/16 finally, all right. All right, come on, go. Go. Okay. Trying to figure out. All right, just go. Go. All right, sway bar in. We got to do the link pin. We have the old link pins. I don't know if we're going to be able to get these in here at the angle of the dangle. Here, take the camera, please. I don't think we're going to be able to get these in with the control arms. Usually I like doing sway bar link pins with the tires on and on the alignment rack because it's that normal ride height that's a little bit easier to get in, but we will try it. So you start off with a washer, a rubber, now another rubber, another washer, then the spacer, then after the spacer, then you have another washer. All right. Now a rubber, and that rubber goes down to go into the hole of the sway of the control arm. So there's that. And now this should just slide on through, and then we have a rubber, this washer, and then a nut. And actually, I cannot believe it. These bolts must be really long. Now, you know something? Now I'm questioning myself. Should have been the other way around, where the nut was up top. Was the nut up top, or was the nut down at the bottom? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. We'll just roll with this. All right, well, hell, that one's in. Let's go do the other side. Let's go do the other side. Yeah, we probably have them. I'll lock it up. Tons of interruptions, sorry everybody. We got the sway bar bolted in. We actually have got the sway bar links in. They're not tight yet. So now we're gonna go ahead and just, the only thing left really we need to do is put the steering linkage on. So the steering linkage, we have the new idler arm on. We got everything painted up. So this is just gonna slide underneath like that. And okay, I guess the smartest thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get that drag link, which hooks to the steering box, hooked up first, and then we'll worry about the idler arm on this side. Here, hold that. Well, actually, you need something. You're taller. Can you climb in? Climb in. He can. G Junior's so damn tall, he can climb in stuff. So I'm going to have him climb in here. All right. All right, great. All right, let me come underneath here. So this is the drag link here. This goes into the steering box. So let's unscrew that. All right, here, put that in through. Can you put that up in there? Go ahead and lift up. All right, got it, okay. I'll go ahead and just get the nut started. All right, got the nut started. All right, I don't mind if I'll run it down as far as we can get it. All right, that's down pretty good. All right, so now we have the idler arm on this side. Now we still have this loose, but you're not supposed to tighten this up until it's you have it in the wheels straight, because this bushing actually helps the steering wheel return. So I do believe it goes like that. All right, here you want to grab that and lift that up. Let me take a peek here. Yeah, I think that's the way it goes. Let me go get the nuts and bolts. All right, of course we have nothing ready. So we'll come back here and all the nuts and bolts. Yeah. new nuts and bolts right here. And 2 grade 8 bolts and nuts. Excellent. So we have another, I don't know what he did with the old Pitman arm. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. All right, so let's stick a bolt through here. And stick a bolt through here. Can you get one of them lined up?
Actually, back off just a little bit here. Okay, go.
Are they in?
Yeah.
All right, you should be able to let go. Here's 2 nuts. That went surprisingly well. All right. And then, yeah, it's got to go that way. I was thinking that maybe this arm spun around the other way, but no, it's got to go that way, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now we just have to hook up the outer tie rod ends, but we bought 2 new boots for the outer tie rod ends because those are ripped, or one of them was ripped. They look very nice. I know this is going to be a super long video. People like long videos, so actually that one doesn't look too bad. I wiped these out already, but we're gonna take and probably pump a whole bunch of fresh grease through these. I don't think, sorry, I had the camera pointed in the wrong place. I don't think that's actually a bad grease. I just think it's the grease they used to use. There is the new tie rod end boot. Have to get this lined up. Oh, the woes of the one-handed mechanic. All right, there we go. Here, can you take the camera?
What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to get the outer tie rod ends started with the new boots. All right, I got that one. I'm gonna come over with this on this side. Yeah, I think this is the boot that was ripped on this side. Yeah, these look like pretty nice boots. Looks like they're gonna be work perfect. Tighten the idler arm yet or not?
No.
No.
Everything's this is hand started. That's hand started.
Everything's hand started, right?
Yeah.
All right. So real quick here, let me walk around this way, and okay, steering wheel straight now. Where's the idler arm? See, the idler arm is straight now, so that's where straight is supposed to be. It looks like it's towed in a little bit on this side. Let's look at this side. And this side looks like it's towed out. We're gonna have to do an alignment on this, so it's not a big deal. All right, everybody, my battery's getting ready to go dead in the camera here. So, wow, we got a lot done today. We got the whole front suspension on, the brakes back on. So next, we're gonna have to rerun the brake line to the master cylinder. And we still need to put the shocks in, because we got to get the car on the ground to put the shocks in, because the shocks are too short to be installed with it up in the air like this. All right, everybody, remember my Printify store down in the description has the Rustang t-shirt for sale, and we have some other stuff up there. We have Mr. Gravel on the t-shirt, so go stop by my Printify pop-up store. And G Junior has been a hell of a good help. All right, so I think we're gonna leave this one here. I wanna thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe, yeah. You can always do that in that corner. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the Rustang videos. please give me a thumbs down if you don't. So after we get this done, we'll be getting on to the brakes. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you all on the next one.